Stay tuned for today's Antidote, brought to you by the Renegade Success Network. Today's Antidote features a healthy dose of thought-provoking insights and information for business owners, entrepreneurs, leaders, and nonprofit professionals. Each day since March of 2020, this program has offered that one thing to help you continue on your own unique pathway to success. And now, Renegades, we bring you Bob Graham and Tom Brush.
Tom's even moving his head back and forth today. I saw. Look at that.
Yeah, it was the move. The moment struck me. So,
hey, it's good to be here, Tom, on a Tuesday. There were some moments last night where I thought we might not be on Facebook this morning. Little wacky day yesterday, huh?
Yeah. Well, I guess it's so funny. There were people who posted about that on Facebook, and a whole bunch of people who are like, "Wait, what? You mean something happened on Facebook?" I think it's just
something didn't happen, as it were.
Right, correct. A lot didn't happen. I think that it's interesting how there are some people who Facebook is a significant part of their daily work life, or maybe just their daily social life, and for others, it's really not a factor in that 9 to 5 or whatever their work hours are, because they're doing something else. And so there is not time to be on there. So those people are like, what happened? What are you talking about? That Facebook and Instagram, WhatsApp were all down. And others who were unbelievably distraught at the fact that they could not access Facebook.
I think it signals something bigger. And it's the same thing that happens when you send an email and the person never receives it. We assume certain things in our society are going to work without fail. And when one of those doesn't, it starts to make us question everything. Yesterday afternoon, I was really questioning. You and I were doing some things, and I'm like, should I even try to send an email out? Is it even worth the effort? Because if Facebook's down, what else could be going wrong? And I think that's the deeper issue. But the other thing is, if we're putting all our eggs in one basket, we run some risk there. And you and I have talked about this. We use Facebook a lot. It's no surprise. You can see we've got over 1,000 people in a membership group in Facebook. We have talked in the last couple months about possible transitions, possible changes. And I thought for a while yesterday that we were going to have to accelerate that plan and be there today. But I would also tell you that's good business, right? The fact that you and I had those discussions earlier got me to a place yesterday where it's like, okay, we're okay. We'll be okay. And I think that's the thing. Looking down the road and thinking worst case can often be helpful just in figuring out best case, right?
Yes, because you're looking down the road. You're looking for what are the potential. We talk always about creating your own unique pathway to success. And one of the challenges of that is if you're not thinking forward, if you're not considering what are the future obstacles or roadblocks, things like this will smack you in the face, and you might not be able to recover. Fortunately, it came back and people had access. And yet, if you were planning to do a webinar yesterday afternoon on the East Coast on Facebook, and that was an important part of a conference, your business, trying to connect and engage with people, you were at a significant loss. And trying to figure out how to bounce back from that is different. I think, for those who consider, which again, why would you ever consider what happens if Facebook is down? Okay, what happens if the internet's down? It reminds me of when we used to lose power at work and you couldn't, or the phones were down, like occasionally many years ago. When the phones were down, you're like, well, what am I going to do? I can't call
it. When you had to turn the crank and get Thelma at the main office at Central 309 and say, Thelma, could you get me Central 302?
No, not that. I'm not that old.
Wait, you mean the rotary phone days when you had to, like the 9, you had to push it all the way around the circle and then wait for it to come all the way back and then do the next digit?
I do remember that. I'm not sure I ever was working with a rotary phone. I don't believe that was ever the case.
You're joking.
I don't think so. In the
Wow.
1990s?
I graduated from college in 1987, and I worked at a newspaper where we were all over the rotary phones.
Maybe there was some early days that I'm trying to forget. But I think one of the things working in higher ed, they were usually a little further ahead of the curve sometimes. And so I think in my sports information days, there were definitely days where we were going to a press box, and to get the radio broadcast, the signal back to we were plugging into a rotary phone. There's no doubt about that. Some of those press boxes were pretty old, or some of those facilities we were at were not up to date with the latest technology. So yes, I'm sure I was.
I can only imagine. So Tom, one of the things we like to do is celebrate.
Sure.
It's got purpose. We don't do it just for fun. We do it because it's a good way to start the look backwards to see what we can do moving forwards. So what are you celebrating today?
I'm going to celebrate the fact that I wasn't completely overwhelmed when Facebook went down. I had a moment, when I couldn't, I was like, oh, that's interesting. Wonder why that isn't working. And I knew I had to do some things. And I think because I had planned out my day, I was not as worried about it because I knew I had other things that I could focus on. And I think that allowed me to, one, not be so concerned. Two, it also allowed me not to be distracted, which sometimes social media can be a distraction. Sometimes it can be a very important business purpose, and also it can be a distraction. And I think once I realized it was down, I was able to just be like, okay, great. I'll just go on and do some other things. And then I'll check back occasionally to see the things that I needed to do as a part of work on Facebook. So I'm going to celebrate that I was not completely overwhelmed with that.
Nice. I like that. That's good. And I like how you worked Facebook into it. I'm celebrating the fact that no matter how much you think you understand what's going to happen in the world, it's still unpredictable. And I was telling you, there was a National Football League game last night that had a 35-minute lightning delay, which happens all the time now in sports because they're worried about the players on the field, the fans in the stands because they're outside. And, oh, wait, this wasn't outside. This was a brand new, I think, $4 billion indoor arena.
$5 billion
in Los Angeles. And before the game, they delayed the game. And the best part was they told the players, get off the field, this could be dangerous. And they told the fans, stay in your seats. I love it. It excites me that things can still be unpredictable, that you can't know what's going to happen, because that means that anything's possible. And I like knowing that, and I sometimes forget it. Sometimes I'm so busy saying, this is how it's going to go, this is how it's going to go, this is how it's going to go. When something goes completely haywire, like Facebook going down yesterday, it reminds me that so much of the world around me is outside of my control. And even when I think I understand it fully, not so much.
Sure. No, I think it's, well, and also you can spend a ton of money to create what you think is the perfect facility or the perfect product, and you don't think about that. There's sometimes things that you can always learn from every situation that you'd be like, huh, isn't that fascinating? Yeah, the stadium is, because I'm sure because they've had it now for a year, although haven't had fans in it.
Right.
I'm sure they're just gushing over, oh, look at this thing we built. Isn't it? And then last night there were like head slap moments. Like, oh my, really? Is this is going to happen? How did we not figure that out? And I think that's an interesting, just tells us that we can always learn. I hope that they are following our advice today. And this morning, the leaders of that organization are saying, what went well? What didn't go as planned? And what will we do differently? Because even if you take aside the fact that it was an indoor facility with outdoor lighting that was an issue, I'm sure they went through like, okay, what, and they may be, I'm hoping they're reviewing the protocols that they put out there. Now, maybe like you, they're like, wait a minute. Why did we tell the players to leave the stadium? And yet we told the fans to stay in their seats. Maybe we need to go back and relook at that and say, is that the appropriate procedure to follow? And I think, or they could just be like, that'll never happen again and move forward. And I think it's those organizations that are willing to stop and take the time to review that, to better understand, so that the next time they will be better prepared for what might come down the path. You can't predict it all. And yet you can definitely learn from what you have experienced. So,
you ready for our National Day, Tom?
I was just about to ask you, tell me what our National Day is.
It's a good one. I think you're going to like it.
Well, I'm waiting for the day
it's going
you
to
say.
require effort.
Well, here's the thing. I'm waiting for the day you say this one's not very good, but we'll talk about it anyways.
That's exactly
you haven't really shared that very often.
This is National Do Something Nice Day. National Do Something Nice Day. So that the organizers of this encourage people to do something nice. They give examples of picking up someone's newspaper and moving it closer to their door, helping them carry groceries in. If I know the 3 people that still buy newspapers, I get that. Carrying groceries in for your neighbor if you see that they've got more than a handful. Complimenting someone. Just, hey, really great, Tom, that you're on time every morning for this. That really makes my life a whole lot easier. And you are. I'm not being funny. I'm being serious. Just little things that are nice. And the nice thing to me, excuse the redundancy of Do Something Nice Day, is it's an unexpected thing that they're asking you to do. So it's not like saying thank you when someone gives you a candy bar or something. It's doing something nice for someone outside the normal range, even holding the door for someone or allowing someone into the road when they have their signal on, and you could go ahead because you've got busy, you're busy and you have to get where you want to go, but just holding back for 5 seconds so that car that's been sitting there patiently can pull in, and then they do their little wave in the mirror if you're lucky.
Okay. Well, so here's my thing with that. It's kind of like National Smile Day. And I like that. Smile at someone day. That's nice. Why do we need a day to celebrate that? Why isn't that shouldn't that be every day? Do something nice day?
I agree with you.
So I understand the putting some focus on it, but shouldn't we put focus on that every day and it's interesting to me that people would be like, I never do anything nice for anyone.
Then let me give you an alternative, Tom. If you don't,
no, it's okay.
No, let me give you an alternative because I aim to please. It's also National Get Funky Day. Oh yeah, getting funky. Now
that I like.
Okay.
I thought it was like National Do Something Nice Day because I try to do that. I'm a door holder, so if I get a chance, I hold the door open. And
better a door holder than a doormat.
True.
So how will you be celebrating National Get Funky Day, Tom? You gonna pull out your Rick James super freaking out?
Maybe I'll do a TikTok to that. Not even know what TikTok is, but that would probably be
candy.
What's that?
Isn't that candy? No, I know it's not.
Yeah. No, wouldn't that be funny to have like a 54-year-old bald white guy doing TikTok to Rick James?
I want to see that.
That might be something that like went viral. If there, of all the things that you try to do that might go viral that actually might add value, something stupid like that might be the thing that actually adds value. So,
we need to add value right now.
We certainly do. So, everyone, just in case you didn't know what you were listening to or why you were here or what was going on, this is today's Antidote, our daily broadcast and podcast. So if you turned on the podcast and you're like, what the heck are these two doing?
We don't know.
Sometimes we don't know. Although, I think within all of that, there was some good value. So, but really our conversation today and this week is about the Renegade investment. And it's really a conversation about how, as a renegade, you see the value of investing, using the resources you have to invest in something. And we had a little discussion yesterday about what that means. So today, what we want to talk about a little bit is how you can invest in yourself. Because I think so often, and I think we'll talk about this tomorrow. I think that's the topic for tomorrow, is investing in your business. And I think people see that. But I think the idea of investing in yourself sometimes is missed. I think many people feel like they're going to invest in others, and the last thing they would do is invest in themselves. And yet I think it's an important thing for us to talk about, because I believe from our conversation, we'll learn that when we invest in ourselves, it has a huge impact on what we are able to do for others as well as for our work environment. So what are your thoughts on some of this, Bob?
So, Tom, I need to bring an audiovisual element into our discussion.
It's back off his shelf in his office, I think.
Oh, come on. Why is it? Hang on.
There's a fail.
There's a fail. Okay, got the guitar.
Nice.
So I'm not going to play a song, I don't think. Maybe I will just a little, just to show you that I can play guitar. The reason is...
This is Bob getting funky, playing a guitar.
I don't have a funky song. I wish I did. About 10, 12 years ago, I wanted to learn how to play the guitar. Actually, if you go back about 25 years ago was when I first wanted to learn to play guitar, but I wasn't serious about it. About 5 years ago, I got a little more serious. I met someone who was a guitar instructor, and I said, I'm really bad. I have no rhythm, no anything. And he's like, okay, come on in. I work with guys just like you. And went in there, and rather than, play this, and that was boring, he was like, what song do you want to play? I'm like, I'd like to play a Counting Crows song. He's like, okay, pick one. All right, Mr. Jones. Great. And we worked on Mr. Jones. And it was amazing because it wasn't easy, wasn't always fun, but after about 3-4 weeks, I could play a semblance of Mr. Jones. And where it helped me, and this is where that investment was valuable, not only did it take me from something where music to me was always a mystery. I love it, but I couldn't tell you anything about it. Now I understand chord structure. I understand rhythm. I understand how different pieces come together. And I'm starting to even be able to figure out songs on my own. Like my ear is developed so I know the notes. But where that's helped me professionally that I didn't expect at all, it's helped me understand patterns. Music is all about patterns. You play the same notes in the same order a lot in a song. You play the same rhythm all the way through the song. And that's really helped me in my business pursuits to see patterns more clearly and recognize that it's okay that the pattern be recurring. You have a song and that same rhythm goes all the way through, whether it's Rick James' Super Freak or the latest Carrie Underwood song. And that's acceptable and normal. The other thing it taught me was that there's a whole world of feelings that have more of an impact. My wife said to me one day, you should just play for yourself. Just feel the music. You're playing the notes. Feel the music. And I didn't know what she meant. And then one day I was really frustrated with some things. Came home and started to play the guitar, and I played the song without looking at the notes. I just started playing. And the result was suddenly I was freed. It was Bob's version of the song. You may like it. You're going to say, no, that's not the Counting Crows. But you'd be like, oh, wow, Bob really likes that kind. Oh, he presses this string a little harder and it gives him a little different tune. It's his version. And I think that's something I had to come to with business. I think it also informed the whole Renegade efforts that we're doing. That I could create a song, even though it was a song everyone would know, I can play it my way, and that's totally okay. And so this guitar thing that was just like, I've always wanted to play guitar since I was like 12, because all the guys who got the women played guitar. That was just the way it was when I was a kid. In adulthood, and it's funny because the guitar teacher, when I said that to me, he's like, yeah, that's why all the guys come and play guitar. He's like, every guy that I talk to, it's the same thing. Yeah, I know this is how you get chicks.
This is not a very politically correct word to use, but
That was
you're
what they
right.
told him. I didn't say that. I did not say that, but that's what they said to him.
Fair enough.
So, I think there are things that we all invest in that, or we can choose to invest in that have a lot of benefit. Plus, for me, there's just something very soothing about playing my guitar. After a really hard day, it's the first thing I go for. I can't wait to come
Right.
home. I have one in my office even, just so if it gets too much, I got 5 minutes. I'm strumming notes and just chilling out for a couple of minutes.
So that wasn't your office guitar. You have 2 guitars.
I have, well, I own 3 plus a ukulele, and I inherited from my brother 3 more.
Wow.
And these are a lot. I seem to collect things that you can only use one at a time. Like I like watches. I've got like 5 watches. Um, there's something else I have. Oh, shoes. I love shoes, and I've probably got 25 pairs of shoes, and I only have 2 feet. So hard to get through the day and wear more than 1 or 2 pairs a day.
You know, you could put 5 watches on your arm and have like Eastern, Central, Mountain, Pacific time. So you'd always know what time it was.
And I could have Hammer Time, right? MC
Yeah,
Hammer,
you could
another
definitely have
funky
hammer time.
song.
That would be
Another
funky.
funky song. See, I'm getting the funk out.
Yes. So, here's the thing. When I was thinking about this, and I love that example because I think that not only I think so often we think our personal and our work lives, professional lives are separate. And while it's great
Yes.
to have some separation in them, they just carry over to one another. We bring our full self to our work environment. And I was thinking about, it was interesting. As I think many people know, I went to this clinic for women's lacrosse this weekend as an official. And really, people go to those clinics to get rated for the next level so you can move up and do higher level games. And also to learn more and get feedback. And what was interesting is they sent us so to do this, there was an entry fee that I think was $300. It was out of town and it was overnight. So I had to get a hotel, had to drive there, had to buy my own food, so it was a significant, not significant, but it was a decent investment in trying to achieve this rating. What was interesting was when they sent this goal sheet. So they sent us like a self-assessment, like, what do you want to accomplish in this? And the first thing I started thinking about what we do here and, what I talk about all the time is it's not necessarily about the results. So I didn't even list as one of the goals for the clinic was to get my next rating. I said, you know what, I'm going to separate that from what I'm trying to accomplish. And I put down things like, I'm looking forward to learning more about the new rules. I'm looking forward to seeing higher level play. I'm looking forward to working with new partners and understanding like what that interaction is like. And nowhere in my sheet was, I want to achieve this rating. Because I think, and in some ways, I feel like that was obvious. What I found when I got there was it completely freed me from being nervous. Like I was not concerned about the fee. When I started thinking about, okay, I've taken in this information in the classroom part. I got out on the field and I got to do all these things. And I was what am I taking away from each of these experiences? And, ultimately my feeling was no matter what happens, I can't control what rating I get. All I can do is the best I can. And if I'm only focused on how can I get better? How can I learn from different situations? That's my intent. And I found that it freed me. I was not nervous. I wasn't worried about it. And yeah, it was in the back of my head, of course. And at the same time, I had gotten to the place where I was like, whatever I get is going to be fine. And I'll just figure out where do I go from there. And there was so much of that, which made it really easy, came from all this work stuff that we talk about. It's like, how do I just not focus on the results and how do I figure out how do I learn from what I do? And that investment in myself personally, I felt that way. I learned a lot. I had some interesting experiences that I know will carry forward into future opportunities that will benefit me. So I felt like that was a really good investment, and an investment where I stopped worrying about what's the immediate return on investment. And I think, that's, if I'm going to jump to my one thing, I think that's it, is that yes, the return on investment is important, and why we do it. And yet what we learn is also a big part of that investment and a part of the return on that investment, not just the sale, not just the rating, not just, making $1 million. And while all of those are nice or important, what I learned was that the real value was, what did I take away from this experience that I can use moving forward?
If you choose to look at it that way. To get those lessons, you have to be willing to look back and say, and you have to be open to them. And I think sometimes I've been guilty. My first couple of months of guitar playing, every day it was, I should be able to do this. I know 10-year-olds who can do this. And I was in my 40s at that point. I couldn't do it. I just couldn't. It wasn't there yet. And so I slowed myself down by not learning the lesson, which is, what do little kids have that I don't have? They have a willingness to make mistakes and they don't care. And once I was willing to make mistakes and not care, guitar playing got easier and work gets easier. The correlation is you and I have made some mistakes, Clubhouse being one of the best. We plugged into Club, but we learned a lot from it. So it's not a mistake.
And I think that's the key thing. It's and I think that allowed me this weekend to just go with what I had. I mean, there were 2 calls that I made that I don't think I would have made if
officiating calls
that I made. I don't think I would have made if I was solely concerned about, oh my God, if this is wrong, I'm not going to get my rating.
Right.
It was more about, this is what I believe I understand, and I'm going to do it because that's what I believe is real in this moment. And then, okay, if it wasn't, I could go back and learn from it. And what I find is usually when I do those things, even if I didn't apply the correct rule or the correct, setup of it, I would not do that again. I would know that, oh yeah, you know what? I remember when I did this, that was the incorrect application of the rule. And I learned so much about that, and I'm able to leverage that going on down the.
I want to put some comments up, Tom. First, John says, I've never made mistakes. I wish I could relate to you guys. He's being funny. Trust me. I know John. He makes a mistake every now and then. And this one you're going to love, Tom. You should take some personal pride in this one. This is from Gene. It's also National Rhode Island Day. Check Born to Travel later today for Rhode Island travel ideas.
Love it.
I sent her a messenger note as soon as I saw that. I love it. I love the tie. I love the.
Why does Rhode Island get its own day? Is that every day? Every state have a day?
Yeah, every state gets a day. I usually don't highlight the state days because I don't want to open that Pandora's box, because then 50 of my great days will be gone to, really, do we want to go with Wisconsin Day or North Dakota Day?
Right.
So there is a lot here. Gene Bourne is one of our Renegade Success Network members. And I think it's fair to say, Tom, if this were a year ago, that post would not be up there. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's fair to say.
And I think that there's a lot of growth that's hidden in that post. And I think it really speaks to how people can learn new things and adopt new approaches. That this is the result of a lot of discussions with Jean, a lot that you had, some that I had, and Jean trying new things and figuring out what works for her. And the fact that she's got Rhode Island travel ideas, Jean's been all over the place. All over the place. And she doesn't go to like just the places, like if you're in Tennessee, Dollywood, she would go to like the Knife Museum in Sevierville.
Are you saying there's something wrong with Dollywood?
I've driven by it.
Be careful.
I've driven by it. I've never been there.
One of our listeners would not be very happy with you if you knocked Dollywood. Just saying.
You know, I'm not an amusement park guy.
I understand. And we'll notice if one of our regular listeners, although doesn't comment a lot, will notice this conversation.
I'm not saying anything negative towards Dollywood or those things. It doesn't appeal to me.
Okay. All right.
Now, and just to have fairness to cover me, John says Dolly Parton is amazing.
How does that cover you? Covers John, doesn't
Because
cover me.
I put the comment up. And John also says Gene Bourne is amazing. And oh, wait. Sorry, I hit the wrong button. And John also adds this: string Bob up and hang him.
Buy his guitar strings? Interesting. All right, folks, I think it's
nice tie.
This is a really good time to wrap it up.
Yes.
We hope that you got something out of this and understand the value.
Please share with us, because we'd love to know what you took from this.
Correct. Please share your one thing. There was a lot going on in this episode, which sometimes can happen, and we appreciate the comments by our friends. So thank you. If others have comments, please feel free to share it in Facebook or YouTube if you are watching this. Whether you're watching it live or you're watching it later on the day, as long as Facebook is still up and running. And if you're listening to it on our podcast, we hope you'll share this. You know, even if you weren't quite sure where we were going, there's someone out there who could benefit from the conversation we had. So please share it with your family and friends, and you can rate us, like us, all those things you do with your podcasts. So we hope that you found some value in that today. Actually, we know that you found
It's also on Twitter and YouTube.
Thank you for sharing that. Yes, it is also on Twitter.
So if one of these goes down, we've diversified. We have other options for you.
Correct. As long as StreamYard, which we use to send it out, doesn't go down, then we're.
Tom, now you got me worried about things. That's not good.
I know.
All
right, folks. Thanks so much for being with us. We hope that we will see you inside of our Facebook group. If not, the Ring of Renegades. If not, we will see you tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Eastern. I'm sorry?
8 a.m.-ish.
8 a.m.-ish. We need to start adding that every day.
I think so.
We probably should just say 8:15. So you're early, great. If not, you'll probably catch us right on time. Anyhow, we'll see you tomorrow morning around 8 a.m. Eastern time for our next edition of today's Antidote. Have a great day, everyone. We will see you soon.
Embrace the renegade in you.
Thanks for listening to today's Antidote, powered by the Renegade Success Network. The Renegade Success Network helps you confidently create your own unique pathway to success. To learn more about the Renegade Success Network and how you can take your next step, follow us on Twitter, connect on LinkedIn, or join the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. For full details on how you can join our community, go to renegadesuccessnetwork.com. Embrace the renegade in you.